Okay, so good evening, students. So, so let me introduce myself first. So I'm Mevin Perera, and so I currently study software engineering in the Sabaragamuwa University. So I'll be doing the O-level English medium ICT class. Now, so what I want you all to do is, since this is an online class, so if I asked you all to switch on your cameras and do that, you won't probably switch on your camera. So what I want you all to do is if I ask a question, I want you all to react. There are in Zoom, you got the reaction options. Neither. So in Zoom, you have the reaction options. So you can use them or else you can send me a message. So if I ask a question in order to answer, you can use the chat option. Now, and also, uh, now I'll be explaining mostly, since this is an English medium class, I'll be explaining mostly in English. But if a student doesn't understand what I said, if a student doesn't understand what I explain, you can ask me to repeat in Sinhala. So I'll be explaining both in English and Sinhala as well. But most of the time it will be English. But if you want me to explain in Sinhala, I can do it. I can do it as well. ඔයගලන්ට my English වලින් explanation එක ඔයගලන්ට clear නැත්නම් ඔයගලන්ට පුළුවන් ළමයි මගෙන් මට message එකක් එවන්න සිංහලෙන් explanation එක ඕනි කියලා මම සිංහලෙන් explain කරන්න. And also මට ඔයගලන්ගේ reactions එහෙම දකින්න ඕනේ. මට ඔයගලන්ගේ answers ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි class එක continue කරන්න ලේසි. It would be easier for me as well. හරි? Because I don't understand whether y'all understood what I'm saying. මම කියපු එක තේරුණාද කියලා හරියට දන්නේ නැහනේ. මොකද physical class එකේ නම් ළමයින්ගේ if I look at their faces I can understand. In the physical class, if I look at the students' faces, I can understand whether they have got what I have said. But they are confused. But in the online class, I can't do that, no. So I want everyone, each and every one of y'all, to give me answers and do the reactions, mm, and also keep a good internet connection, guys. So Google Zoom packages එහෙම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් already දන්නවා. ඉතින් මම ඒවා explain කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. But Zoom packages එහෙම දාගත්තොත් it would be easier for y'all. හරි. So this is the grade 11. So this is the grade 11 new students. This is for new grade 11 students. අලුතින් grade 11 වලට them. So most of the schools they are having the exam, the third term grade 10 third term exam in February. February වල ගොඩක් ළමයින්ගේ exams තියෙන්නේ, but so today we'll be starting grade 11. So after the exams, of course, in February, you will be promoted to the grade 11 class. එහෙම තමයි වෙන්නේ. So this is the grade 11 ICT English medium class. Alright. So let me share y'all the screen. So most of the time, you will see the presentations on the screen. So today, so let's start the programming lesson. So I'll be using the sketchpad if I need to draw anything. If I need to write anything, I'll be using the sketchpad. So otherwise, mostly the explanations, yeah, you can. So after the class, you can of course have the slides. But if you want, you can also get down the notes when I'm explaining. You can write down the notes as well. මන් ස්ලයිඩ්ස් දෙනවා ළමයි ක්ලාස් එක ඉවර වුණාම ඉතින් ඔයගලන්ට එතනින් නෝට් එක ගන්නත් පුළුවන් or else මම explain කරන ගම you can take down your notes ගන්න පුළුවන් හරි so let's start හරි so what is programming? What do you mean by programming? So this is the first lesson if you grade 11 class. So let's see what's the programming. And also, please mute yourself. Okay. All right. So, what is programming? So basically, now the computer is not that smart, right? So it's not like our brain. So it's not that smart. It cannot make any decisions. It cannot make any decisions by its own. So it's not that. It's not a smart device. So basically, we have to give a set of instructions if we need the computer to do a certain thing, to perform a task. We need to give a set of instructions. Right? So that is what you call programming. Computer is not a smart device. Okay, it's a man-made device. So in order to make the computer understand, in order to make the computer to do a certain task, we need to give it a certain set of instructions. So those instructions are called programming. So programming, wait, okay. Programming is a set of instructions how to perform a task. Okay, so programming is what is programming? It is a set of instructions which would tell the computer to do a certain type of task. Okay, so nowadays, now you might be wondering if you have already heard about AI, artificial intelligence. Now that computer is smart. You might be thinking that AI is smart, so we have artificial intelligence. You might be thinking, okay, now that is different. Okay, artificial intelligence. Okay, so basically we call it AI. Now you might be thinking, now this is another one. This is different. This is not the typical computer because in AI it has its own knowledge. Now you might be thinking like that. No, the thing is, my AI, even though we call it artificial intelligence, it is also not that smart. It is a program. So what we have done is we have almost taken everything which is on the internet. So most of the AI engines we called ChatGPT and then Bard. Okay, we have a set of AI engines out there. So like ChatGPT. Have anyone used ChatGPT? Can I have some reactions if a student has used ChatGPT? Okay, so one student has used. What about the others? Okay, two, three. Good. So now, yes. So since you guys are English medium students, of course you can use ChatGPT and do a lot of stuff. Now the single medium students, of course, they cannot use it much because the thing is, most of the answers are coming in English, and if it can understand Sinhala, but still, it's not that much trained. Name. Now, since you guys are English medium students, let's say the English teacher asks you to write 100 words essay, you can easily use ChatGPT, or else you can use Bard. So, one day I'll show you how to use ChatGPT if the other students haven't used. So, if there is a certain thing you need to learn regarding science, you can just type it in ChatGPT and it will give an answer. Science මොනහරි තියෙනවනේ ඒක දැම්මොත් you will get an answer. So now ChatGPT and all this stuff, what we have done is, so ChatGPT, Bard, and all those AI engines, Gemini is there now. Okay, the newest one. So what we have done is we have teach the computer almost one third of the internet. Okay. So we took whatever which is on the internet. We took one third, almost one third of the internet, whatever which is available in the internet. We took them and then created we created numbers for each and every word, for each and every data. We gave a specific number which would be translated into binary. So computer only understands zeros and ones. So we did everything. And then now only we have an artificial intelligence program, AI program. So what I want to explain to you guys is, so programming is applied in everywhere. So whatever the machine it is, we have to give a set of instructions for it to perform a certain task. Because if the instructions are not there, if the instructions not there, it would be just a bunch of metals. නිකං යකඩ ගොඩක් වගේ තමයි. හරි. Now, programming. So it is a set of instructions that tells a computer how to perform a task. So it is applied in everywhere. So we can program using a variety of computer programming languages such as JavaScript, Python, and C++. Now there are hundreds of languages which were used throughout the years, but now these are some of the most popular ones. Okay, now JavaScript, Python, and C++. Now now there are different languages to do different stuff. So basically JavaScript as a language, we use it to make website. So if you need to if you want to be a web developer, if you need to build a website, okay, if you need to build a website, or else you can even build apps using it. So if you need to do all those stuff, okay, yes. So if you need to do all those stuff, you will have to learn JavaScript first. Okay, now you will start from JavaScript, but then of course you will have to learn all the frameworks like React JS. Okay, so all these stuff are there. Then Ruby is there, Node.js. So all this stuff you will have to learn. But if you want to get started as a what do you call, a web developer, or simply build an app, you will have to first learn JavaScript. Now that is for those purposes. So basically it's for websites, mostly used for websites, to make websites. Now the Python is also one of the most popular programming languages nowadays. It is the most popular actually. In 2023, it was the most popular programming language. Now, Python is a different type of language which is much easier to learn. It is very easy, Python. It's not a very hard language. So, most of the Python language is now applied in machine learning, and AI. Okay, so machine learning and AI. So since it is the trend now, since most of the students and also most of the companies, they are trying to build machine learning websites, machine learning softwares, AI softwares. So Python has become now the most popular language because it is very easy, and now the programming for AI is very hard. So using a very easy language, it makes it makes the whole process easier for the developer. So Python is now very popular. So you can, if you want to get into this machine learning and AI side, if you want to build softwares, if you want to build algorithms that would enable AI, artificial intelligence, you will first have to learn Python. It's not a very hard language. It's very easy. uh, and then something now C++. Is a very old language. Now nowadays we don't use it much, C++, but there is one application which keeps this language alive. So there is one application which keeps this language alive. So that application is the boys might know it. So Unreal Engine. Okay, so Unreal boys might of course know it. Okay, so the recording will be provided, but I would appreciate if you could just join the class and wait. Uh, I can provide the recording, but it would be better if y'all just, no, most of the students I know, you might not look at the recording. Uh, so you might, take breaks and stuff. So it's better. So end it right now, and then you have another free time to do something else. No? So, anyways, alright. So this language, this particular language, May language, it's very old. Nowadays we don't use it much, but we are still using it for the Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine, so almost let's say around 60% of the games in the whole world, games are made out of the Unreal Engine. So around 60% of the games are made out of the Unreal Engine. So if you all need to become game developers, if you want one day to build games are the unknown now. So you will first have to learn C++, okay, or else C sharp. So Unreal Engine and then Unity, we have both of them, so you can use either of them and build a game. So these are the most popular popular programming languages, but there are a lot, okay, far more than this. Harry. So different purposes, because we use it for different purposes. Now we don't have one language. Now look at the world. Now the world has several languages, right? So as Sri Lankans, we have Sinhala, and then we have English languages there. Okay, so we have different types of languages. Now, similarly, computers also, they have different types of languages. So, so the computers also, they have different types of languages in order to do different stuff. So JavaScript, like I said, for websites, then Python for machine learning and stuff, C++ for gaming. Now, Now, for example, like there is a language called Java. Java and JavaScript are two different things. Now, Java is basically used for Android apps. Okay, Android apps. So, in order to develop Android apps, so if you all have an Android phone, so if you all have an Android phone, if uh, so you have apps in your Android phone, so all those apps will be using Java. Okay? Now for different reasons, right? So basically the only reason that we use Java to make Android apps is because the whole Android operating system, so Android OS, okay, Android OS is made out of Java. Okay, so Android operating system is Java. So for each and every app which is running on Android, we are using Java. So that is how basically the programming works. So there are a lot of languages. So if you want to, just be in this field, if you want to like become a software engineer, something like that, you will almost have to remember almost like 15 programming languages. You don't have to remember them by heart, but you just have to know the idea like how it is being applied. Right. So that is basically what's programming. So did everyone understand what I said? I need the reaction. So tell me if y'all understood what I said. Okay, good. So you can do the thumbs up reaction. If y'all understood, you can do the thumbs up reaction. Awesome. Good. Great. Harry. So let's move to the next part. Now, and one more thing for grade 11. So for the very first time, you will be learning a programming language. Okay, so the programming language which y'all will be learning is Pascal. Okay, so the very first time, right? For in grade 10, 9, 8, y'all were learning ICT, but you didn't learn any programming language. So for the very first time, y'all will be learning a programming language called Pascal. Now this is not being applied for any application. Okay, for this Pascal language, it was only developed for learning purposes. So in order to learn programming as a basic introduction to programming, this Pascal is being taught. So in your syllabus as well, you will be learning the Pascal programming language. That is so we'll move to that part later. Now let's move to the next slide. Alright. Now analyzing a problem. Analyzing a problem. Okay. Analyzing a problem. So in order to analyze a problem, what do you mean by analyzing a problem? Analyzing a problem in the sense we are looking at a problem and we are trying to understand it. We are trying to solve it. We prashna that come, we are trying to, solve it. Like you can see in this diagram. So these people, they are in a huge problem and they are just trying to, just take this wire out. Okay. Yeah. So we are basically trying to find an answer. Okay. Now that is what you call analyzing a problem. So in order to analyze a problem, there are a lot of steps, but mostly it consists of these three categories. One is input, then process, and then we have output. Okay. Now input. What is input? Raw materials that are used to solve the problem. Raw materials. Okay. So what are raw materials? So raw materials are whatever the things that we need to solve a problem. Okay. Whatever the things that we need to collect, whatever the things that we need to, you know, uh, get in order to solve a problem is called raw materials. So first thing is as the input, we need the raw materials, the stuff that we need, that we need to collect. Okay. And the next step is we should convert the input to output. So converting all the inputs to output is called the process. Okay. Converting input to output is called the process. Finally, finally, at the end, we will have the result. Okay. So result obtained after solving a problem is called the output. Okay. So in order to analyze a problem, first we need the inputs, the raw materials. Okay. Then there would be a process. So what happens in the process? Basically in the process, we are converting inputs to output. Inputs, outputs වලට convert කරන එක තමයි වෙන්නේ. Okay. And then uh, finally we have the results. The results are called the output. Okay. So this is how we analyze a problem. So let's move. So let's see certain examples and try to understand. Okay. Now I have given very small examples, very small examples. So let's see. So first one is preparing a letter which can be posted. So preparing a letter which can be posted. So in order to make a letter, first thing is low. So try to first try to get what's the input, process and output is. So you can take a notebook and then write down input and then process and then the output. So take down a notebook and just try to write down what you need to, prepare a letter. So I'll do the first one. So I need a piece of paper, right? I need a piece of paper. So I need a piece of paper. And then what else I would need? I would need a pen. I would need a pen, and then I would need an envelope. So these are the raw materials which I need. And also I would need a stamp as well. So of course, the letter will not go by its own, so I need a stamp as well. Then the process. What are the process? What are the processes we have? What are the processes we have? So I'll go to the sketch pad and do this for y'all because it's not that nice, right? So uh, so let's see. So input. Okay. So what do we need as the input? So input, once again, we need paper. We need I need a pen. I would need an envelope, right? I would need an envelope. Then as the process. First thing is what I would do is I write the letter. Okay, these are the steps. කරන දේවල්. So what the activities which you do. So I write the letter and then I put it into the envelope. I put in it. Okay, put it into the envelope. Then I paste the stamp. And then finally, what is the output? A letter. So I have a letter. Okay. So this is the input, process, and output of the first example. So for the input, we need these raw materials. Then there is a process. And then finally, there is the output, the letter. So let's see the next example. Making a cup of tea. So that is also a very simple one. So I'm just trying, these questions, of course, students, you won't be getting for your O levels, like making a cup of tea, but I'm just trying to make you all understand. So input. So in order to make a cup of tea, what do you all need? You need sugar, right? You need sugar, then you need tea, then you need hot water, okay? Hot water, okay? So you need all those stuff. Then what's the process? Okay, mix them all together. Mix them all together. Okay, to mix them all together. So then strain the tea. Then strain the tea. Then the output. As the output, we get a cup of tea. So these are the input, process, and the output. So there will be a number of processes. There will be like 5 processes. We don't know. So there will be a lot of processes, but at the end we would get an output. Let's see the next example as well. So online shopping on a website. So what do we need in order to shop online? So I would need a mobile phone. or else I would need a computer. Okay, I would need a computer, a mobile phone. Then I need a connection, internet connection should be there. And then what else? So I need so I need to make a payment, right? So I need a debit card and a credit card, or else a credit card. I need either a debit card or else a credit card. So I need all those stuff. Edeva loan. So I collect them, and then what's the process? First thing is I go to the website. I go to the website. I I choose the product. I choose the product. Then I make the payment, and then finally, as the output, I would get a receipt. Right? As the output, I would get a receipt. An online receipt would be there. Correct. So that is the input process output of the online shopping on a website. Then ATM withdrawal process. ATM withdrawal process. Now let's look at that as well. ATM withdrawal. ATM withdrawal. Okay. ATM withdrawals. What do you need as the input? What do you need as the input in order to make an ATM withdrawal? What do you mean by an ATM? So ATM stands for automatic teller machine. ATM stands for automatic teller machine. Now, why do we need these ATMs? What does it do? If a student can answer, please tell. Why do we use the ATM? Yes. So if you need to withdraw money from the if you need to withdraw money from the bank from your account, you need to go to the ATM. So if the bank is closed, so normally the bank closes at 3 o'clock in the evening. So in order to get money after that, you will have to go to the ATM. So it is very easy to get cash from the ATM. So what do we need? So first thing is we need a debit card or else a credit card, right? Debit card or a credit card. So debit card or else a credit card. Then after that, uh, so you need to enter the PIN. So you enter the PIN code. So there is a particular code that you all will be getting. So I think probably yes, you don't have debit cards still, but if you get so after turning 16, you can get in certain banks you can get a debit card. So if you get one, so they will give you a PIN code as well. So on a PIN code, then so you should enter the amount you need, the amount you need. Okay. So the amount you need, you should enter. So let's say you need 10,000. So you need to type 10,000, 10,000 kila that note. That is, so if you need 5,000, you will have to enter 5,000. Mm. Then what's the process? So first thing is they would validate the card. Validate the card. Now sometimes you might come with a fake card, right? Fake එකක් අරගෙන fake ඕගොල්ලෝ නෙවෙයි, but some person might come with a fake card. Right? So first thing is they would do is they would validate the card. Validating is making sure that the card is a true one, true Visa card, Visa proper Visa card එකක්ද කියලා බලනවා. හරි. Then after that they check your balance. Mm. Checking the balance. Checking the account balance. Okay, account balance. So they the system, it would check the account balance. Okay. Why do they check the account balance? Because now if you don't have 10,000 in your account, the ATM doesn't give, it's not supposed to give you 10,000, right? So money should be there in the account. Money තියෙන්න ඕනේ account එකේ. නැත්තම් money දෙන්නේ නැහනේ. So checking the account balance. හරි. So if all is good, ඔක්කොම හරි නම්, so if everything is good, then the withdrawal process will take place. Withdrawal process complete. Okay. Now what's the output? Okay. What's the output? Can students say? What do we get as the output? So after the card is correct, the account balance is all good, and then the withdrawal process is complete. Yes, you get the bill. Okay, the receipt. Okay, so receipt is there. So what else? Yes, the money, right? You get the money. Okay, so you get the receipt and then the money. Okay, and then one more thing, there is one more thing that would happen. Yes, the account balance, will get reduced. Okay, reduced, or else we call it debited. Now in the banking system, we call it get debited. So if you are a commerce student, you might know what's debit and credit and stuff, but it's not something I see, so I won't try to explain to you all what debit and credit is. But anyways, so the account balance will reduce. So let's say you had 20,000 in your account. Now, if you had 20,000, if you withdraw 10,000, uh, the remaining amount would be 10,000 in your bank. Okay, so that is the input process and output of this one, the withdrawal process. Okay, the marking the attendance. Marking attendance. So how does the marking attendance take place? The teacher comes to the class. So teacher comes to the class, and then the teacher would call out the name. So first thing is the teacher would call out the name. So if the student is present, okay, if the student is present, so if, so these are all processes. If student present, then output, or else let's say let's mark, then mark 1, else, so if not, if the student is absent, okay, else එහෙම නෙවෙයි නම්, mark 0. So if the student is present, it would be marked as 1. ඔන්න එක කියලා mark කරා. If the student is absent, ඔන්න 0 කියලා mark කරා. හරි. So that is how we mark the attendance. Then adding two numbers, so it is also very simple. Then finding the area of a rectangle, finding the perimeter of a rectangle. Let's do this one, finding the area of the rectangle. So in order to get the area, what are the inputs we need? In order to get the area of a rectangle, so this is what you call the rectangle. Okay, this is what you call the rectangle. Yes, so you need the length. So that's not the length, right? So yes, so you need the length and the width. Yes, so length and the width. Then how do you find the area? So what's the process? You multiply the length by the width. So you multiply the length by the width, and then finally you would get the output as, so you would get the area. Okay. So similarly, if you get the perimeter, so how do we calculate the perimeter? So in the similar way, so length plus width into 2, you would get the output as the perimeter. So that is how you get the area and the perimeter of a rectangle. Okay. All right. So these are of course easy questions. So let's move. Okay. So finding whether the number is odd or even. Okay. Finding whether the number is odd or even. So tell me, how do we find that whether the number is odd or even? What have you learned in your maths class? How do we find whether the number is odd or even? Yes. So if we divide a number by 2, okay, if we divide a number by 2 and we get the answer as 0, it would be an even number, right? Yes. If there is a remainder, if the remainder is 1, then of course the number is odd. Yes, correct. So ඒක තමයි එතකොට, so in the process you will have to check whether there is a remainder or not. So you get the number, so the input would be the number, then what's the process? The process would be number divide. So let's go with mod 2. What do you mean by mod 2? The mod 2 in the sense, Lama, you basically you after applying this one mod 2, you get the remainder. So you can write a description as well, but this is much more easier. Number mod 2. Now number mod 4 is so let's say for example, let's say you get the number 15. So you divide by 4, the answer would be 12. So when we apply this one, 4, 15 mod 4, the answer which we will be getting is 3. Okay. So you divide 15 by 4, and then the answer, the remainder would be the answer. Okay, so you divide 15 by 4, so you get 3. Now the remainder is also 3, and the remaining is also 3, no, so the answer would be 3. Okay, so if this was not 15, if this was 14, the remainder would be 2. Okay, so this is the answer which you will be getting if we apply the mod formula. So in here even you can just do it. So you can apply the mod formula. So then you can write if remainder equals 0, then it is a number, else it is a even number. Okay, then the final output will be odd or even. So final output would be, oh yes, 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 of course, sorry. Oh wait, yes, so I have made a mistake here. So this, if the remainder is 0, it is even. If there is a remainder 1, it is odd. Okay, so even and not. So that is how it's going to be. Harry. So then next one is finding the largest number between two numbers. So that is also easy. Now, so these are some of the examples which I wanted to discuss regarding uh, analyzing a process. So what I want you all to do is I want you all to write down for each and every one. So from one to okay, let's do the 10th one. Let's see. Okay, the 10th one. So let's read the question first. So what they're asking is find in the largest number between two numbers, right? The largest number between two numbers. So there are two numbers. So what we should do is we should give the largest number. So let's see. So the input would be number A and number B. Okay, number A and number B. Then, so we don't know the exact numbers, no. Then process would be if number A greater than number B, then number A is greater. Okay. Else number B is greater. Now there is one problem. Now if, especially if we write a program out of it, there would be a problem. So one thing is if these two numbers are similar, there would be no answer, right? Okay. Else another one, both numbers are equal. Okay. So if number A is greater than number B, then number A is greater, else number B is greater, or else both numbers are equal. Okay, got it? So if number A is greater than B, number A is greater, then else number B is greater, or else both numbers. So if none of them are greater than each other, so that means like both of them are equal, right? So both the numbers are equal. Mm, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So so when we are writing a pseudocode, or else when we are drawing a flow chart, we can of course use that symbol. So that symbol is greater or equal. So either you could do this or else you could do this. Alright. Now output is the number which is the greater. The number which is greater or else equal. Hmm. So either the output would be the number which is greater. That means either the output would be number A or number B, or else the output would be, if they are equal, then the output would be equal. So that is how this question is solved. So one thing I want you all to do is I want you all to do all these questions in the writing book. So as homework. So as homework, you can get the writing book and then write the input, process, and output for each and every question. So I didn't do it. No. So I am the only person. I think I am the only one who did it on the board. You all didn't write anything. So what I want you all to do is I want you all to take a book and write down the input, process, and output. So that is homeworks. Now let's move to the next part. Algorithm. Okay. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a method to show the steps in solving a problem. An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. Now, there is a question, if there is a question, and I asked you all to get the answer for that one. If there is a question, and I asked you all to get the answer for that one, okay, and you give that particular answer step by step, okay, step by step answer. So starting from the very beginning, and you give me the steps, give me the correct steps, like one next to the other. That means it is an algorithm. Okay, but you don't jumble them. Okay, you don't like make me confused, but you give the proper steps like one after the other. Now that is what you call an algorithm. Okay, so it should be a step by step procedure. Okay, it's not, it's like a normal person, if he looks at an algorithm, he can understand what what should be done, right? So basically, if I asked you all, if there is a question like how to make a cake, the steps should be like one after the other. So first thing, you take the flour, you mix them, you put butter into it, you put eggs into it, you then bake it, then finally only you get a cake, right? Now it should be a step by step process. Harita? So now that is what you called an algorithm. Okay, an algorithm. Okay, so it should be a step by step procedure. Mm. Step by step. Deliver letter. So the step by step it should move down. Okay. So it should be very easy to understand. The steps should not be jumbled. So the first step should not be like put the mixture into the oven. No, that is not the first step, right? You can even first step, because so it should be a step by step procedure. So remember, if there is a question asking what is an algorithm, it should be a step by step procedure to solve a problem. Okay. Okay. And also, now, since you guys are IT students, it's very great that you all have chosen ICT for in order to do your uh, O levels. Okay. Because the thing is, this is a very important subject. It's not like all those other bucket subjects. It's very important. You all have something to do in the future. Okay, for A levels, there are options. Tech option is there. Maths is there. So a lot of options are there. So it's good that you guys have chosen this. And also one more thing. If you all haven't followed my Telegram channel, please follow that one, because I usually I upload certain interesting stuff in there. There's interesting videos, interesting posts. I upload them in the Telegram channel, so you can subscribe to it as well. Okay, so let's see. So I have shown y'all an image diagram how an algorithm works, right? So basically, you start from the very beginning. So this is like building an app. So they are building an app. So what happens is they have started from the very beginning, right? So starting from the very beginning, and then after that, little by little, it gets developed. The app is getting developed. The programming part is being done. Then you correct all the errors. Okay, so this is like correcting all the errors. So you correct all the errors, and then finally, you will get the final app. So smartphone app is there. So this is what an algorithm is. This algorithm is a step-by-step procedure. Okay. Now ways to write algorithms. So let's look at the ways that we can write algorithms. Now there are two main methods. In order to write algorithms, we can use two main methods. So the first one is flowchart. Okay. Now y'all have already done flowcharts since grade 6, right? Since grade 6, you all have already done flowcharts. So first thing is flowchart. So that is the very first method that you can. So flowcharts it uses an graphical manner. So in order to present an algorithm, it uses a graphical manner. Okay, and then the next one is a pseudocode. Now this is new to y'all. Make an alut. Okay, flowchart. Of course, grade 6. From grade 6, y'all have drawn it. But now this pseudocode is new to y'all, right? Now it is a readable description of what the algorithm or the what the algorithm does, what the computer program does. It is a readable description. Mm. Now this is a graphical manner. You draw all the shapes and you show them step by step. Now pseudocode, on the other hand, it is a readable description. Alright? It is a readable description. Alright. Now tell me what is easier to understand. For example, let's say the business owner. So there is a software company, okay, or else let's just say the owner, business owner. Okay, business owner is there. So tell me which is easier for him to understand, whether it is the flowchart or else is it the pseudocode. Tell me which is easier for him to understand, the business owner. Let's take a software company, the owner of that software company, or else any other company, the owner of it. Which is easier for him to understand? Is it a flowchart or else is it a pseudocode? You can give me the answers in the chat. So I got one answer. Hmm. What about the others? So if it is a business owner, okay, if it is a business owner, that means we can assume he only knows how to manage the business, right? He doesn't have, he's not, we can assume like he's not a very, a person who has studied a lot. Okay. Okay. So he basically, he has the money and he runs the company, but still he doesn't have much knowledge on the subject. We can assume like, so most of the business owners are like that, right? So one thing is they have done all their hard work and they have come to a position. Now they have far more experts controlling the business. Okay, so that is how normally uh, an organization is set up. Now the business owner, so since he doesn't have much idea regarding programming, okay, or any of the languages, it would be much easier for him to understand using a flow chart. Okay, so the business owner will usually he would prefer a flow chart because it gives the whole program in a very graphical manner. Graphically graphically represent when graphical manner එකකට whole මුළු complete program එකම පෙන්නනවා. So the business owner would prefer using a flow chart. හරි. Now that is the business owner, right? Now let's take the developers. Let's take the app developers, the programmers, okay, the programmers. So these people, they would prefer the pseudocode. So the business owner, or else now let's take the accountant, not the owner. Let's take the accountant. Okay. So accountant wants to see like what is being done. Okay. So accountant is not a person who has any IT knowledge, right? So he probably doesn't have much mathematics knowledge as well. So most of the things that he has studied is commerce, economics, and stuff. No, so he doesn't have much knowledge on this subject. So if we show him a pseudocode, can he understand anything? Like he wouldn't understand a single thing if I show him a pseudocode, but he would like understand a little bit if I show him a flow chart. So he would see like all the from the very top, it just falls down like a waterfall. The steps are just flowing down. So he would understand a flow chart, correct? But he wouldn't understand, he would never understand what a pseudocode tells us. Okay. So, but these developers and the programmers of the company, they have an idea of programming languages. They have seen a lot of languages. So they don't need to see a flowchart, but they would rather prefer a detailed description, a readable description. Again, a detailed, readable description. They would prefer that one because then it would be easier for them to program. It would be easier for them to program the whole uh, this app. Okay, so flowcharts or pseudocodes, so there are different users, right? So people who doesn't have much knowledge regarding these programming and stuff, they would prefer a flowchart because it is a graphical manner, so that is easy for them to understand. But people who have some sort of a knowledge and who will be programming, who will be making the next algorithm, they would prefer these pseudo code, right? So did everyone understand what I said? The difference? Did everyone understand the difference, like the flow chart and the pseudocode? Good. What about the others? Good. Okay, reactions are there. Okay, good. Okay, so that is the difference between a flow chart and a pseudocode. So in all levels, you will be learning both of them. Okay, you will be learning both of them. So we will be starting from flowchart, then moving into pseudocode, and finally the Pascal programming language. So grade 11, this first lesson would be covering all of them: flowchart, pseudocodes, and then Pascal programming. Okay. So shapes used in flowcharts. So shapes used in flowcharts are start for the start and end. We are using this one. Okay. For the start, in order to in order to draw the start and the end. So basically, the start would be written inside this. Inside this, we'll be writing start or else the end. And then arrows will be used to show the flow. Then input and output. So inputs will be written here, all the inputs that we need, and then the outputs will be written here as well. Then process would be just a rectangle, and then for the decisions it would be this one. So you will only be using these shapes. Okay. So in order to for y'all to draw flowcharts for your O levels, you will be only using these five shapes. So start and end, arrow is there, input output is there, and then process is there, and then finally the diamond shape is there. Okay. And then let's go to the next one. So sequence structure, selection structure, iteration structure. So with examples, I'll explain to you also what happens is basically, so in sequence, the flowchart simply goes down, it flows down. Okay. So the flowchart starting from the very top and it would flow down. In the selection, a particular decision would be taken place. So in here, you ask a question. So you ask a question here, and then sometimes the flowchart will flow to this side or else it would move down. So either way, it would flow down, but in here in this particular shape, you will ask a particular question. So if it is true, you will move to this one. If it is false or else no, you will flow down. The flowchart will flow down. Yes. So that is the connector. So yes, in the previous one, so there is another shape as well. So one thing, it's not actually a shape, it's like a connector which we use like, so I'll explain to y'all in the example. I'll explain to y'all in the example. That's better. So iteration, iteration is also it looks similar to the selection. It looks similar to the selection, but the difference is, the difference is the flow chart, it will move once again, it will move up. So it will repeat number of times. So in this particular cycle, it will repeat number of times. But when a certain condition satisfies, or else in here, when the certain condition dissatisfies, when it is false, it will fall down. So in the iteration, so one thing is we call it repetition as well. So we call it repetition as well. So iteration, repetition, it's the same thing. So what happens is the flowchart will repeat a set of times. We don't know, like 10 times, 20 times. It depends on the question. So it will repeat a number of times until a condition is satisfied. So when it is okay, then it will move, it will flow down. So that is how the iteration works. Okay. So we'll do all these examples, then it would be you will get what what I'm saying. Okay, so let's see the first example. Okay, so the first example is find the sum of the two numbers, number one and number two. Okay, so there are 13 examples. So we'll start from the very simple one and then we'll move to the one of the more difficult flowcharts. Okay. So we can't directly go to this one because I don't know, right? I don't know whether y'all in your previous class or as in your previous in your in your school you have already learned all this stuff. So, so we'll start from the very easy one and then we'll move to the harder questions. So the first question is find the sum of two numbers, number 1 and number 2. Okay, so I'll draw it. Okay, okay. So start. So start and the end uses the same shape. So start, okay, start. Then after that, the input would be number 1 pair. Let me draw it nicely. So number 1 and number 2. Okay. So there those would be the input, right? So that is what you need, right? So you draw this shape. So I'm using a graphic tablet, but my drawing skills are not that nice. So y'all should use a ruler. So y'all can use your rulers, but the shape is this. Okay, it should be an inclined rectangle. So in your question papers for your O levels, definitely use a ruler. Okay, that is a must. Because the thing is, these examiners they have corrected a lot of papers that day, and let's say your paper was the last one. Uh, your paper is the last final paper he is going to correct that particular day, and he would see a very ugly paper, very ugly handwriting. So even if you do a small mistake, that person will cut the marks. The marking examiner will not give you any marks. So especially for your O levels, uh, don't do these mistakes. Just write the answers properly. Okay. Then what you should do is you get or else you could write sum equals number 1 plus number 2. So this shape would be a rectangle. So it is a process. Since it is a process, karan deyak. So since it is a process, the shape would be a rectangle. Then finally, you will be having the output. Output would be the sum. Okay. So after we get the sum, this is the end. Okay. So we are starting. Then you input the number 1 and number 2. Then you get the sum. Sum equals number 1 plus number 2. And then finally you output the sum. So you should remember the shapes. So each and every particular instances, I have written a different shape. I have drawn a different shape, right? For the inputs, I have used an inclined rectangle. Okay. For the inputs, I have drawn an inclined rectangle. Then for the process, I have drawn a basic rectangle. Then finally, for the outputs even, I have used an inclined rectangle. For the start and the end, I have used, this is a particular oval shape. Okay. So normally we use different stuff. So we can use an oval shape as well. Okay. For the start and end, it's not that uh, important, but so start, end is there. Right? And also one student was telling me like there is a thing called connector. Okay. Now, let's say in your paper, for your O-level paper, okay, you don't have much space in a particular site. So you drew the whole flow chart and you drew everything, and finally you come across a certain instance that you don't have any space to draw there. So you need to go to the next page. No, we don't. No, no, no. So you don't get you at the very first instance you didn't understand like how long the flow chart is. So you just start drawing it, and then finally you don't have space to continue. Now, when that happens, what y'all should do is y'all could draw a circle and mark it as one. Okay, you draw a circle and mark it as one. Then you go to the next page, the new page, or for the side, whatever you are drawing on the next page, okay, or else you are drawing in the next side, the right side of it, or else so whatever it is. So what you should do is you write one once again and you draw the connector. You draw a circle around it and then you start the flow chart. Okay, once again you can start the flow chart. So let's say you should write the end. So you write the end here. Okay, got it. So that is how the connector works. So you can use the connector if you run across a certain instance like you don't have enough space to write the whole answer. You can go to the next page. But before going to the next page, you should connect this particular arrow with a symbol like this. Okay, so you draw a circle and you mark it as one. You go to the next page, you mark it as again one, and you start. Okay, so that is how uh, you use the connector. Okay, so this is the answer for the first one. So did every student understand this one? Got it? If there is any doubt, if you want me to explain once again, tell me. Okay, so what about the other students? Did you all understand? Okay, good. Uh, If you all didn't understand, tell me it as well. If you all want me to explain it once again, please drop me a message. So let's move to the next one. Okay. Find the area and perimeter of a rectangle. So we are supposed to draw flow charts for that. Okay. So perimeter area and the perimeter. Okay, so we did it before, but let's do it again. So you need the start, and then you need to input the length and the width. Okay, so you need to input the length and the width, right? So you input length and the width, and then first thing is you get the area of a rectangle. So how do we get an area? Area equals length multiplied by width. Okay. Now next thing is perimeter. 2 times length plus width. Further, so that is area and the perimeter. And then, so we have done all the processes. So we have found what is the area. We have found what is the perimeter. Mm. So we have already found what is area and perimeter. Now we need to put the output. So the output will be area and the perimeter. And finally, you can end the flow chart. Okay. So this is how the flow chart works. So in this particular flow chart, we have found both the area and the perimeter. So so in order to get the area and the perimeter, we need the length and the width. So this is the equation for the rectangle in order to get the area. So this is the equation to get the perimeter of a rectangle. Alright. Now, if I ask you all to get the area and the perimeter for a circle, so this is a circle. What what should be the input? Tell me. If it is a circle, what should be the input? So if it is a circle, what is the input? If I asked you all to find the area and perimeter of a circle, what should be the input? Oh, so I need the replies. So tell me, to get the area and perimeter of a circle, what should be the input? So of course we cannot use the length and the width because circles doesn't have a length and a width. So circles doesn't have it. So in order to get, no, I am asking Puta, I am asking what is the input? Yes. So yes, so value of pi and the radius. So now you of course y'all don't need to input the value of pi. So let's just assume that the computer knows the value of pi. Okay. So just inputting the radius is enough. Okay. So you can input the radius. So you should input the radius and then in order to find the area, it should be pi r squared, right? So you get this one and then perimeter would be 2 pi r. So this is how we get the area and the perimeter of a circle. Okay, got it? Did everyone understand? Please react. You can use the thumbs up. Okay, good. What about the others? Are y'all confused or anything? Good. Okay, good. Hari, Hina. So let's move to the next one. Find whether a number is odd or even. So we did that one, right? So let's just leave this third one. We already discussed about it in the very first when we were discussing about input process output. We already discussed what this was, and then next one, fourth one. Draw a flow chart for a situation where. So let's see. Draw a flow chart for a situation where a boy would decide to take the train to school if the time is less than 7 a.m. or else he would take the bus. Draw a flowchart for a situation where a boy would decide to take the train to school if the time is less than 7 a.m. or else he would take the train. Okay, so that is the question. Now let's see what this is. Now, normally I don't know about y'all. Okay, now normally, children. Now, when I was going to school, now normally, so I went to Masnak College, which is in Vattala. So I went there, and so when I was going to school, now normally you can take the train, but if I miss the train, so the train is at, I think it was probably at 7. I can't remember exactly. Uh, or else it was at 6. I can't remember. So anyhow, if I miss the train, I will have to take the bus. Okay. So if or else the next train would be, if I take the next train, it would be late. So basically, if I didn't go to the station before 7, I would have to take the bus. Okay. Now let's see. So tell me now if, so there would be a start, right? So there would be a start. So start is there. Now tell me, what is the input? What is the input of this? Okay, now I got one answer. What about the others? Good, your answer is correct, brother. What about the others? Others can reply, send me answers as well through in the chat. So, what is the deciding factor? So, what decides whether I am going in the train or else whether I am going in the bus? What makes that decision? What is the factor which makes that decision? So what I would need is the time, right? I would need the time to decide. So the input should be time. Mm. So start, and then I would need the input as time. Okay. Or else if you write it in much better way, can put it like input time. Okay. It doesn't matter anyhow, because if you wrote it as time, even it doesn't matter, because anyhow you are using the input symbol. Okay. Now now this one is different, right? So you input the time. Now what is being done is you make the decision. Mm. So in order to make that decision, you need this symbol. Okay. Now before writing that symbol, I would write is time greater than 7 a.m. Okay. Is time greater than 7 a.m.? So that is a question, right? So every time, every time in these decisions, in these selections, you all are putting question mark. Okay. Every time there should be a question mark inside these decision uh, symbols, decision shape. Okay. So is time greater than 7 a.m.? So it should be a question. Okay. Now, if it is yes, okay, so if it is yes, if the time has passed uh 7, okay, if the time has passed 7, take take the train to school. Sorry, uh, if it is past 7, I'll be taking the bus, right? So take the bus to school. If it is no, then take the train to school. Okay. Okay. Then to take the train to school. So finally, the output would be the transport, and finally we have the end. Okay. So these should be processes. Okay. So take the bus to school, take the train to school. Okay. Then the transport. Now none of the shapes should be kept like floating like this. Mehima, power and balamai. None of the shapes should be floating like this. So these shapes, what you should do is you connect them to the flow chart once again. And also you should make sure that you connect it to the right place. Mm. So you should make sure you connect the flow chart, these shapes, to the right place. Okay. Now, for example, if instead of connecting there, if I connect it here, what would happen? What would happen if I connect this shape to here? So you pass the 7 p.m., you take the bus, then once again you are taking the train. You go in both the transports. Huh? You go in the bus, then once again you are going in the train. You take both of them. So it doesn't make sense, right? You take the bus and you halfway you take the train as well. So that is wrong. So if you connect it here, it is wrong. Okay. If I connect it, if I connect it somewhere here, what is it? You take you if it is past 7, you take the bus. So that's then it ends like the flow chart ends. So that is also wrong, right? So there should be an output as well. So definitely you should connect the flow chart here. Okay. So make sure that you connect the flow chart to the right place. Okay. So it should be connected to the right place. These shapes should be connected to the right place. Mm. So now most of the students, what they are doing is they draw the flowchart, they draw everything, but they mess up the connection. So it depends, right? So sometimes it might end. Okay, sometimes certain questions, of course, sometimes the flow, these shapes, they would go to the end. But in this case, it should definitely go, it should definitely connect here. So you ask whether the time is greater than 7. Yes, you take the bus to school. If it is no, you take the train to school. And then to output the transport, whatever it is, which is it is a train, it can be the bus, you output it and then end. So did everyone understood that one? So if you have any doubts, please tell. Katerunada. So if you all need me to explain it in Sinhala as well, please tell it. No? If you all need me to explain. Alright. So let's do one more question. Okay. Now there is another one. Draw a flowchart for a situation where draw a flowchart for a situation where a boy would decide to trade. No, we didn't do the fourth one, right? Draw a flowchart for a situation where a boy would decide to take the umbrella if it is raining, or if not, leave it at home. Okay, this is very easy. Okay, okay, you start the flowchart. Okay. So what is the input now? Tell me. So the boy is deciding whether he should take the umbrella or not. Hmm? Umbrella එක ගෙනියනවද නැද්ද කියලා the boy is trying to decide. So tell me what should be the input. What is the deciding factor? So if it is raining, he's going to take the umbrella. If it is not raining, he's going to just leave it at home. So what is the deciding factor? So in order to make the decision, he would require the weather, right? So he would have to input the weather. He needs to know what the weather is. So weather, okay. Then after that, what should be there? Is weather, is it raining? Is it raining? You ask that question. Is it raining? If it is yes, take the umbrella. Take the umbrella. If it is no, leave the umbrella at home. Leave the umbrella at home. So finally, now in these types of flowcharts, there won't be any outputs, right? Now these type of flowcharts, these are basically you have to give, you should as the output you are doing something. So in these type of flowcharts, there won't be an exact output, so you can simply end the flowchart. So every time there will not be outputs when we are drawing flowcharts. Mm. So sometimes it might end with a process as well. So if it is raining, yes, you take the umbrella. If it is no, you leave the umbrella too. So that's it, right? So start, then you input the weather, then you ask whether it is raining. Yes, you take the umbrella. If it is no, you leave the umbrella too. Okay. So did you all understand that question, that particular question? Herunada? Good. Mm. What about the others? Okay, good. What about the others? Didn't y'all understand? Do you want me to explain it once again? Good. Okay, good. Okay. Now, next one, fifth one. So let's okay, not the fifth one. It's not the fifth one, right? It's the sixth one. Yes. Draw a flowchart for a situation where the students would be graded according to their marks. If the marks are greater than 75, then A grade. If marks are greater than 60 and less than 75, B grade. If marks are greater than 50 and less than 60, then C grade, or else it would be F grade. Okay. Now, this particular question, okay, this particular question, what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to do this question as homework. Okay. So this sixth question I want y'all to do as homework. Okay. Try to do this question as homework and submit me the answers by the next before the next class. So what you can do is you can take a picture, screen, small picture, and then you can just send me a WhatsApp message. Okay. So please submit me the answer. You try to do the 6 question and submit me the answers before the next class. Alright. Then after that, in the next class, we can proceed to the next part. Okay. Few more examples are there. So these questions, of course, hard, but I want you all to do the 6 question and try to do the 6 question and give me the answer. Okay. So that is kind of difficult, and also I would like if you take this down and then you get all the input, process, and outputs for this. You write down all the input, process, and outputs for this. Okay. So you can ask your friends to join the class as well. So you can share them the link as well. If you all have friends who are doing ICT, you can ask them to join for the class as well. So since it is 8, so only 3 minutes are there to wait. So let's end the class for today. Okay. And then let's start the class again next week. Okay. So in the next week, next Wednesday, we'll be having the class in the same time. So I'll be dropping the recordings to the group, and also I'll drop these slides as a PDF to the group. Okay. So let's see you guys again next week. Okay. Good night. So thank you all for joining. So good night.